It's probably time to stop calling people who believe in UFOs crackpots after the recent revelation that there's actually a Pentagon task force looking into them. One astrophysicist who has worked for the Pentagon's UFO program since 2007 told the New York Times that he gave a classified briefing to a Defense Department agency about retrievals from, quote, off-world vehicles not made on this Earth. Are we on the brink of full disclosure about visitors from outer space? Joining me now is Christopher Mellon. He served as Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense for Intelligence during the Bill Clinton and George W. Bush administrations. He also co-hosts Unidentified, Inside America's UFO Investigation on the History Channel. So, Chris, I sense that there has been a sea change recently in the way in which these reports are being carried and covered. What accounts for it? What has gone on recently?
Yeah, thank you very much. You're absolutely right. And a good example of the sea change is the fact that none other than Scientific American itself has published an article saying the subject ought to be taken seriously and investigated by the scientific community. I think this change is largely primarily a result of the fact that the Defense Department and the Navy themselves have stood up and publicly acknowledged that this phenomenon is real, that this is happening, that our Navy pilots are encountering these vehicles. And so that imparts a credibility that simply did not exist prior to that time.
I was quoting Eric Davis. I know you're familiar with his work when I read that New York Times paragraph a moment ago. Do you believe that there are objects in our possession, broadly defined our possession, that are from something other than this Earth?
What I will say about that is that I think that assertion should be taken seriously. I'm aware I know Eric very well. I understand his arguments. I was present at his briefings on the Hill, and he tried to provide some leads for them to follow to enable them potentially to confirm this. It is an issue that should be taken seriously. In fact, curiously, President Trump himself on Father's Day indicated on air while being filmed that he did have classified information about Roswell, New Mexico, which is, as most people know, is the legendary site of an alleged crash of a UFO. And when asked by his son about declassifying it, he said, "I'll have to think about it." I don't know what there is about Roswell that could be classified or interesting other than that one particular issue. So there is a lot of new press and new information coming forward. And again, as I said, I think this is a topic that the oversight committees should take seriously and investigate.
It's the only thing missing from this election. Who knows what the next 90 days brings? This is a global issue. This is not Right. This is not a United States issue. Are there other countries that have taken a lead in the exploration of this subject?
Absolutely. In fact, we're behind several other countries. France, for many years, has had an official process involving their national security forces and police forces. Every year they examine a number of cases and bring in outside scientists. A lot of that information is public. My colleague Lou Elizondo has made trips both to Italy and South America, and we present a lot of this information on our show, as well as a lot of information from current and former U.S. military personnel and their experiences. But you're absolutely right. This is not unique to the United States. And further, our military personnel have similar experiences when they're deployed abroad in the Middle East and Afghanistan and elsewhere. So by all accounts, it is definitely a worldwide phenomenon.
A final question. Can technology alone account for what you and I are discussing? It occurs to me that by day, I make my living by speaking on Sirius XM, and my voice is bouncing across the United States on a satellite. I assume right now this conversation is doing likewise. There's a lot of stuff up in the atmosphere that didn't used to be there. Can that be an explanation, or is that too simplistic?
I do believe it's too simplistic. And the reason I say that is because in some of these cases, we have information from multiple radar systems, infrared systems, multiple naval personnel on the ground and in the air. And we're tracking these objects performing maneuvers that clearly indicate they're under intelligent control. They're responding to our aircraft, they're out maneuvering them, and they're doing things that are far beyond any capability we possess. So that's certainly a hypothesis to consider. We have to keep an open mind going forward, but I don't think we're going to find at the end of the day that that kind of explanation can explain cases like that.